We are continuing to monitor the situation out of Boca Chica Beach, where the Starship Hopper made a hop tonight. They believe it went up about 60 feet and came back down. The landing spot looks just a few feet away from the spot where it took off. Oscar's mic is hot too, so we can talk about this a little bit. The fire suppression equipment's going, but there's a pretty good flame burning this side of what they call the Three Amigos, those little tanks that are right there in the foreground, and those are going pretty good, but they've got the fire suppression. You see the water being poured on as we speak.
Yeah, and they do have a fire truck, but we don't know for sure if that's water from the fire truck that's being used out there, or they have a piece of equipment that's throwing water out in the launch area. We still see the fire from the tower there, and that's normal. But again, off to the left there, as far as we can tell, that's not normal. They're not throwing fire on it, any water on it right now. But in the background, you can see the vehicle. The vehicle looks like it's in good shape. So again, this is just a cleanup. This is new to us.
And everything they do is new to us. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's real interesting just to kind of figure out as a novice in this to see what they're doing, what we think they might be doing, but we are following the chatter out at Boca Chica Beach also.
Right, those three tanks, they call them the Three Amigos. Those are water tanks, so there's no fear of any kind of big explosion from that. The fire truck has not gone out there yet. There's been some question about how quickly it can go out after a burn. The fire truck can't get there yet, so then they've got a truck that's kind of standing by, but with everything else before the launch, that has to be moved, so it's out of the way. So as you look at that site.
That's live there, Tim.
So you're looking at the...
Oh, okay.
That's the recorded image. Okay. So, yeah, the live image still shows definitely the fire in front of the Three Amigos, and another one off to the right of the flare. That flare that you see in that recorded image, off to the right of that now, there's a small fire. It looks like it could be on the ground.
There's the ignition.
Over there as well. There's the ignition. Look at that. Just watch.
Now, as we watch, we're trying to see if the hopper is off the ground, but it's really hard to tell.
If you can remember where it was before the launch, let's see where it comes down after the launch. And, and again, it basically would have gone up the height of the hopper and come back down. It's about the height that it would have gone. So just enough to get the base of it up to where the top of it is when it's static on the ground. So as you watch that, though, an awful lot of flames and pretty amazing to watch. That's back to the live image now. And thanks to Lab Padre and everybody out there.
They're doing a great job.
For this feed. They're about 1.2 miles away, and they made the comment after the test last week that for the first time they felt they might be a little bit too close, but they're allowed to be there. That's where they live, and they're allowed to be there, and they've got the cameras there. You see the suppression equipment. You see that the water being doused on the hopper itself. But in the foreground, you see that fire, and we're back to the...
Here's back to the ignition again.
Back to the ignition again, okay.
You know, and this is one Raptor engine that's on this test vehicle, on this prototype. Eventually, the authentic, the real vehicle that they plan to launch will have 3. So you can imagine just what that might be at that time, blasting off from Boca Chica Beach and that facility there.
And that's just the beginning. You know, if they ever get to the big Falcon rocket, that is as tall basically as the Sapphire building on the island. That's how tall the big one is. That will have close to 30 of those in it. 30. So there's the ignition. Now you can watch that. If you remember where the rocket was before.
Boy, it's just you know, I'm just in awe. This is pretty amazing happenings out at Boca Chica, and especially here for the Valley. I mean, we'll hear a lot more as we go on, as this develops out there, but certainly just some excitement for the Valley, and you look forward to just seeing more of these events in the future, and what an opportunity for so many people.
And it's just, you know, we're not going to be Cape Canaveral. We don't have, 10 launch pads, but if you've got one launch pad and you're launching once a month, which is what the original plan has been now, that may change as time gets closer, but they were licensed for 12 launches a year, basically, one a month. That's huge, and you can see this clearly. I'm anxious to hear from people on the island and hear what you saw on South Padre Island. I don't know if Taylor's still out there like she was earlier, but what they saw on South Padre Island on this little test. This is a little test, and things go wrong in tests. That's why they do tests, and that's not unusual. That's why they didn't finish it last night. They had problems last night. About 3 seconds in, they stopped because they had issues. Tonight, obviously, they went for a full burn, and we got apparently we got a hop. Whether it went 60 feet, 30 feet, we don't know that yet. But again, Elon's tweet: Starhopper flight successful. Water towers can fly. ha ha with 2 exclamation points, which seems pretty authentic coming from Mr. Musk.
Yeah, and you know, as an observer, you kind of get impatient. You're waiting for it to happen, but you don't understand, or you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, which will be interesting at one day when we finally realize, you know, what exactly goes on behind tests like this, and then behind, again, potential launches that we'll see in the future. So they're not going to do anything until they are set to go. And tonight, you know, it paid off. We saw what happened, and as Elon Musk says, a successful launch of the water tower.
They did call it a water tower. So, and thanks again. The flames. I'm looking at the live feed now. You're seeing it there as well. The flames around the three Amigos, which are water tanks, are still going pretty good. But the fire truck's not out there yet, and there's really not much, you know, around that to burn. It's just brush out there for the most part, unless it gets into one of the buildings. And again, those tanks, they can't hurt because they're water tanks, other than scorching them maybe. So all the other lights are out, it looks like. So Elon calls it successful. So good news.